I decided to move in here because I had retired, and basically the rent I was paying and my power bill swallowed my whole pension for the month each month. So everything else besides that had to come from out of the pocket, and I looked around to see if there was a better way to spread the money a bit longer. Yeah. When I moved in here, it was great. I started to go out and join in around with the other residents here, and I found it really good. But the first day I moved in here, there was this noise. It was a continuous pulsing noise that went 24/7. So it wasn't so bad during the day, but in the still of the night, it was just loud. So after about 3 weeks, I'd wake up in the night and began finding it harder and harder to go back to sleep. So by the 5th week, I didn't get back to sleep at all one night, and then I knew I needed to say something because it wasn't getting better, it was getting worse. I think for me the most hurtful part of what I went through was finding out that the village knew 6 months prior that there was a problem with the motors, swimming pool motors, and they didn't fix it. Because when I lost the plot, I was screaming, if you had fixed it 6 months ago, I would never be in this position. But you didn't fix it, and here I am. When you came to my room, you knew what it was, and you left me there to rot. You left me there to rot, knowing full well that I was living in 24-hour noise, and I screamed, what am I paying for? Where's my quality of life? It wasn't a conversation, it was just me screaming, me yelling, and it just ended with the village manager saying, leave it with me, I'll ring head office and get back to you before the end of the day, for the second time. And she didn't. Yeah. When I broke down and started yelling, that wasn't my fault. It should never have happened. But by then, by the Monday, things were all go. They were looking for a room for me to move in. That was the first time that they had done anything. Then everyone was responding to me, not only the village manager, the maintenance manager, the sales manager. They were all coming to me one by one and giving me these same messages. And yet before that, 5.5 weeks, nothing, dead silence, hard to find them. Yeah, so I ended up moving into another room while they ended up shutting the pool down, and it took them 3 months. So wrapping the motors was never the fix. I'm really not sure how it happened, but I think another resident was contacted because of what was in the newspaper to come find me and find what's happening. And I am really pleased that he did. Because for me, without his support, I would never have continued to push my point, make my case against our village. And so it's just the stress of it all and having to sit down and write it. And I found that every time I went through it, it would just reduce me to tears again. So having me talking to him, and I'd get a bit tearful and he'd pass me tissues, but he was writing and then he'd show me what he had written, and then for me to come back to him, we'll make changes or whatever and send it in. And every time, even though the responses were slow, every time we got a response, he'd make sure I'd seen the email, set us a time for the next day to get together, and then tell me, have a read through the email, and then we'll get together at whatever time the next day. Then I'd go meet him, and then he'd ask me, okay, So what do you think of the email? And I'd say what I thought of it, and then he'd put that together and add it on. But I think I would never have been able to write like that. I think that for me on my own, I would have ended up getting nasty and walking away from it. Yeah. So I'm really pleased that, yeah, he came along and worked with me, yeah. I believe there should be an advocacy service for us as residents, because I strongly believe that unless you have that solid support with you, you walk away. I think, like, growing up as Māori, it's always, you can't fight money. Just leave it, lump it, get over it and move on. We don't do these kinds of things because we don't have money. You can't fight power, but I know now from having my support person, without him I would not have gone the distance. And I know in many cases outside of the retirement village, people don't go. People don't go because of what it takes, the strength to hang in there, the strength to write these letters and make these replies. And, it's too hard, too stressful. Yeah, and it's easier just to walk away. And I mean, if you end up in places like court where you have to pay, you're not going to win, you're never going to win. It'll be dragged out and kept on going, but without someone strong beside you to help you through those first stages, absolutely we need advocates. Yeah.